Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to thank Hilal, UN Watch, and the Human Rights Foundation for inviting me today to speak. My name is al-Ahmed. I was born in Saudi Arabia, and I'm a victim of the Saudi monarchy, just like many thousands, tens of thousands of our people. I'm not alone, as I said. All members of my family have been, at one point, been arrested and jailed, including my parents, my younger sisters and brothers, my older sisters and brothers. My youngest brother, Kamil al-Ahmed, is spending his 16th year behind bars in Saudi jails. With him is my nephew, Muhammad Abdullah al-Ahmed. My oldest brother, Abdullah, was arrested for a year and a half, tortured. Two of his sons, Muhammad, who is in jail now, university student, and his oldest son, also a university student at the time, was arrested. They were all tortured. I was arrested with my family, including my youngest brother, who's in jail now. When he was 10 years old, I was 14. I witnessed the torture and the death of torture of young man, 18-year-old Saud al-Hammad. My youngest brother was tortured one time during these years of imprisonment for 6 months every day. His life is over because he spent the best years of his life and he continued to do so behind bars. Over the last 30 years, many members of my family, extended families, friends, and people I knew from around the country have been arrested, jailed, and tortured, and some have been killed. In fact, two members of my family, my cousin Salman al-Rahain and my father's cousins Hassan al-Ibrahim, were killed by Saudi forces, one outside his house and the other while driving home from work. The Saudi monarchy has been jailing, torturing, killing, and violating the human rights of the people of my country for over 80 years. I can tell you of thousands of cases of the tortured, the murdered, the deprived, the silenced, but this will take years. I'll tell you of 3 cases. The case of Dr. Muhammad al-Qahtani, a university professor, graduated from Penn State University, spending 10 years in prison for forming a civil society and calling for an election. I can tell you of a friend of mine, the poet Adil Lubbad, who's been tortured every day. He's still in jail and facing 25 years in prison. For what? Writing some poems and a book. I can tell you of Mr. Ayad al-Ayad, a man from Qasim. His eldest son, is in jail for 11 years with no trial or charge. When his 3 other sons, the youngest sons, Ayub is 10 years old. A couple of weeks ago, they went to prison to ask to see their brother, to visit him, because they have not seen him in years. They were all arrested, including Ayub, who was 10 years old. I can tell you of the killing of the protesters at the hand of the Saudi death squads, including children. These squads, unfortunately, are trained by an American company. I can tell you of thousands of intellectuals, writers, religious leaders, children, and many other women, men, who are banned from travel, work, school, and other basic rights. In fact, my passport was taken away when I tried to renew my passport at the Saudi embassy in Washington. And I asked the consul, what is the charge? What is the law that is allowing you to take my passport? He couldn't say. Who is seizing my passport? Which department? He couldn't say. So I told him, I know, you're a bunch of criminals. Thieves act like this way. You're not a state. That's why you're doing this. Because you can't even give me a reason or a piece of paper. Today in my country, we have thousands of political prisoners packing the Saudi prisons. In fact, building Saudi prisons is probably the fastest growing sector in Saudi Arabia. For no real crime. Most of these people did not really do anything serious. But they are usually tortured for extended periods of time, not allowed a lawyer, obviously, and if sentenced, usually it's in a kangaroo court. Kangaroo court that does not meet any international standards. The Saudi courts are horrible, they're medieval, they're sectarian, and they do not use any modern standards of procedure. The Saudi monarchy, why is that? Because the Saudi monarchy is an absolute medieval monarchy. It's a monarchy of darkness. There is no free press, no civil society, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, any basic right does not exist. Women in Saudi law are considered to be the property of their male guardians, the only country in the world to do so. The male master can prevent a woman from going to school, from having life-saving surgery, from getting an ID card, passport, travel, even leaving the home. Of course, education includes that. And many Saudis, in fact, have taken advantage and prevent their daughters from going to school. The Saudi monarchy bans women from exercise. Sports are not allowed for women. Yet the International Olympic Committee violated its charter by allowing the Saudis to attend the Olympic Games in London. And I worked on this case. I had no response from the English, from the British organizers or the IOC. It was total ignorance. The Saudi monarchy is a racist monarchy. Blacks, who make up 10% of Saudi Arabia, are not allowed to be diplomats, judges, senior officials, military officers. Black women are not even allowed to be a school principal. In fact, Saudi TV does not allow black women to be on camera because it's too shameful. The Saudi monarchy is holding, this is very known. If you ask many Saudis, what is Saudi Arabia called? It's the big prison. The Saudi monarchy is holding the millions of people in that country in big prison. Sometimes, if they don't want to put you in jail, they take away your right to travel because they make you, instead of the small prison, you go to the big prison, which is Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine keeping you in your country as a punishment? This is what the Saudis are doing. That's why they took away my passport, and I don't have any passport today. Many of the world governments are helping the Saudi monarchy by voting them for the Human Rights Council. Supporting the Saudi monarchy's membership to the World Human Rights Council is supporting racism, xenophobia, chauvinism, anti-Semitism, dictatorship, and oppression. This is the pure fact. So any country that supports a membership is participating in the oppression of our people. Sometimes I think they are doing this and saying nothing about the Saudi monarchy's policy because they do not value us as people. They value us as worthless creatures who do not deserve the basic dignities of a human right. And if you, those who vote for the Saudi monarchy, do not believe that, then show it. At least do not vote for them. At least do not support of them. I think we must gain our rights by ourselves. But we ask of you, the civilized nations, the democratic nations, not to support an absolute monarchy that among its practices and teachings, teaching its millions of students that they should kill all the Jews and hate all the Christians and kill all those who do not agree with them religiously. Thank you again. and I hope we win this time.